All right, so Worth Unlimited Sales Track Review, the first 6 steps of Sales Track. Just going back and reviewing, and then we're going to go into the 5 steps of success this evening. I want to take each one of these and take just a little bit of time with each one and then move into our sales process and then move into our lesson for this evening. Your first lesson of Sales Track is starting point. With whom do I start? That is your name list. Those are the people that you're going to be contacting to try to present the program to, designating these people as, totally hot or, lukewarm or absolutely ice cold. Getting with the individual that brought you in, going over that list, entering them into your database, into your agent portal, and starting to make calls. Last week, we reviewed qualifiers and tie downs, and the week before that, we did another review of the 15-second commercial. Your 15-second commercial is a way to make your product relative, to make it relevant to whatever an individual situation is. Your 15-second commercial is your first blush. It is your kind of your what I do for a living without saying somebody, I help people get out of debt. What I do for a living, how I assist people without actually telling them what you do. The 15-second commercial should be engaging. It should be something that you have rehearsed. You should, as we spoke a couple weeks ago, you should have 4, 5, 6, or 7 different 15-second commercials that are already refined and already thought out. The other thing that I would tell you about your 15-second commercials is make sure you write them down. Physically script them out. Have several 15-second commercials that apply to several different situations. And then the other thing that I would tell you to do is practice your 15-second commercials. Practice it on family. Practice it on friends. Ask them for a critique. Ask them how that makes them feel. What we're really looking for is a little 15-second blurb, can even be shorter than that, maybe a little bit longer, that grabs someone's attention to the point where they say, you know what, I need to know more about that. I want to know more about that. So do know that's the context of your 15-second commercial. Next would be your use of qualifiers and tie downs. Now, your qualifiers and tie downs combined with this 15-second commercial are going to be the most important aspects of your 6 lessons of Sales Track. Now, that doesn't mean you blow up lesson 4, 5, and 6. It just means that really the rubber hits the road. Once you deliver that 15-second commercial, the prospect is going to respond. Your response should be in the form of a qualifier or a tie down to lead them in a specific direction, lead them in a direction of wanting to know more, of wanting to understand the product better. And then once you start using your qualifiers and your tie downs in that, you want to make notes of what you use for your qualifiers and tie downs, how the client responded to that, because that'll be very helpful for you when it comes time to set your appointments, comes time to go over the analysis with a client, to get the analysis done, and especially when it comes time to review the results of the analysis and to close the deal. Do realize that these first 6 steps are nothing more than about 15 to 20 minutes of conversation with your client. This is your first blush with the client. Number 4 is your personal or borrowed story. And this is, why did you come to work with Worth Unlimited? Why did you buy the Worth account? What was it about Worth Unlimited that really excited you? Why did you finally decide to go that route? What was it about the program, the Worth account, that actually excited you? What type of success have you seen with the Worth account program? What type of success have you seen in your business? All of these can be personal and or borrowed stories. The reason we put borrowed story there is we have agents that are selling the product but do not own the product because they're either out of debt or their debt load is so low, there's no true benefit to them owning the product. And in those cases, we continually have agents saying, well, how do I develop a personal story if I'm out of debt? And the way you do that is talk to your upline, get on these calls, borrow a story of success, whether it be in business or whether a story of success in utilizing the program. The litmus test, that's step number 5, and the litmus test is literally as simple as asking the client, the prospect, on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 means nothing, and 5 is absolutely imperative, something you absolutely must have. On that scale, where does your desire to get out of debt between 1 and 5? Once they answer that question, if they come back a 1 or a 2, they may not be the person for you. They're really not looking at debt. You can ask them why that is. You can move into some open-ended questions. Why is it that debt is not on your radar? Why is it that debt is not a concern to you? If that goes nowhere, then that's probably somebody that you want to talk about something else, or you want to move the process in a different direction. If they give you a response of a 3, a 4, or a 5, you want to follow up with them with a question saying, okay, you say you're a 4 on that scale of 1 to 5 in seriousness to get out of debt or desire to get out of debt. I have another question, and that is, are you serious or are you just curious? Now, regardless of how they answer there, serious or curious, they may just need a little bit more information to move them into serious. Serious, I wouldn't linger. I would move right into my process and try to move to the next step, which is setting your appointment in stone. Now, I know many of you think, well, why do you have a whole lesson on setting appointments? Well, the big reason is you can set appointments all day long, but if people don't show up for them, it doesn't do you any good, the amount of time and energy and effort that you put into setting up that appointment. Our system for setting an appointment in stone captures the client's attention. It really drills them down. It gets a series of commitments from that prospect before you close up the book for that day. Reaffirms the appointment time, who's going to be there, the dates, the time, the place. We talk about in setting the appointment in stone, it's very important to follow up. Same day you made the appointment with an email showing them the date, the time, the number, or location where they're going to be. It's also very important to follow up with your client. Typically, I say day of in the morning or at least a few hours before, just to make sure that nothing has changed. All parties will be present, and you are good to go in order to have your appointment. In our sales process, the first step is gain interest, and we do that with the first 6 lessons of sales track by following that process and walking through that process. Our second step in our process is send them the videos or to a live webinar, or you're going to meet with them in person. Set a follow-up appointment within 24 to 48 hours, so they do have a deadline to get that done. Your first appointment should be to run an analysis, gather numbers, and build rapport. At the end of that appointment, you should set up a follow-up appointment within 24 to 48 hours, so they have a deadline again, and that will be the appointment. The second appointment will be to review the results and close your situation. I'm going to go over to Dr. Joan before we jump into our lesson of the 5 steps this evening. And let's go over here to Dr. Joan real quick. And Dr. Joan, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing very well, and we're very glad to have you on the call, as you know, and I'm not sure the whole field knows, but Darlene is hosting a meeting tonight that's probably just wrapping up in Columbia, South Carolina, so she will not be on the call. But, Dr. Joan, we're getting ready to move into the 5 steps of success. We've been doing some review of sales track, and I just wanted, before we move into the 5 steps of success, any thoughts or comments or ideas that you may have that you would like to bring to the attention of the individuals on the phone regarding those first 6 steps of sales track and what we see on the screen right now, our sales process. So everybody,
Absolutely.
Dr. Joan.
Oh, thank you, sir. The 6 steps to sales step, it would help if I could speak, my goodness gracious. The 6 lessons of sales track are really the most critical part of the sales process. It's going to determine whether or not somebody's truly interested. It's going to help weed out the people that are not interested. and it's going to help you really create that sense of urgency. I get a lot of questions from people saying, and complaints saying, oh my goodness, I scheduled this appointment. This person didn't show. They ditched me. What's going on? Well, it's most likely because they didn't create that sense of urgency. They really didn't get to the pain that that person has. So really use this sales track to get to the pain, to really create that sense of urgency for that person, to really find out what their unique needs are. It looks like there's a lot of information on here, but really it's meant to be about a 15-minute conversation. It really shouldn't be that much longer than a 15-minute conversation, because all you're doing is gathering interest and creating that curiosity and creating that sense of urgency. If you're spending longer than 20 minutes in that conversation, you're probably selling, and that's not what that part of the conversation is. Also, you don't have to go in order. It doesn't have to be commercial, then questions, then stories, then litmus tests, then setting the appointment in stone. You can mix that up. It can go in any order. It really does need to be an organic conversation, something that's not scripted. And so it's kind of like jazz. It's best when you're just doing it off the cuff, when you're just making it up as you go. And not necessarily making it up, that's the wrong way of putting it, but it's really just best when you're not scripted, when you're just talking from the heart, when you're really just making it about that person in front of you. So this is your recipe. Remember that that's the best recipe that you can follow. And it will help increase the likelihood of somebody maintaining that appointment and increase the likelihood of them moving forward. It's also going to help you not move forward with somebody that's not really interested, so you don't beat your head against a brick wall. We've all been there and we've all done that. I would encourage you to truly become a master of the invitation. And that's what the sales track is all about. It's your invitation. The commercial's not just your invitation. It's all 6 steps of those. And become the master of it. And I would encourage you, especially if you're new, to become a master before you start looking at closing the sale yourself, before you start running the analyses. I'm not saying to not do that, but I would encourage you to use the systems in place so that you can focus on one thing at a time. So concentrate on those 6 lessons of sales track, on that invitation. Become that master of that invitation, and then start mastering the other steps. And you will get very, very far with the business.
Fantastic, Dr. Joan. I love having you on the calls. You know that. You know what you mean to me, and I'm sure you're aware how valuable you are to us as a company and to the field. And thank you so much for that. And I'll come back to you a little bit later on in the presentation near the end. But thank you so much, Dr. Joan, for being on the call with us.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's just keep moving on. Okie doke. So what are we going to talk about this evening? We're going to talk about the 5 steps to success. And what we really know about these 5 steps to success, we created these because the individuals that are seeing the most success in the business are following these 5 steps to success. And they're following this in the pattern of utilizing their sales track and, making a names list and doing all of these little pieces. I want you to know, if you've been in sales for a long time, I'd be willing to bet there's quite a few people on the call that are thinking to themselves, I know all this. I've been in sales. I've done this before. This is just basics. This is sales 101. That's really not true. The most successful people that I see in sales keep a good foundation in the basics. They don't forget their basics. They don't forget to follow a process. They don't just wing their presentations. They don't just speak off of the cuff. They have a process in place. They follow that process, and that is what gives them the success that they see. Aside from, you have to work your business. You have to get out and talk to people. You have to be engaged in the community. You have to go out and meet people and present this to them and share the information. So what I call 5 STS, the 5 steps to success. The first is your self-training. The second step is personal analysis. Third step is your prospect list. Fourth is making appointments. And 5, we're looking for 4 sales in a month. And that would give you success in 30 days. By the way, if you make 4 sales in a month, you are making very good money, especially with the bonuses that we have in place. So let's look at the first one, self-training. Within the first 24 hours, if you are a leader that is signing up new agents, do not be afraid to give them homework. Do not be afraid to hold them accountable. Do not be afraid to tell them that you have a process and you have expectations for them. I know so many individuals that recruit people, they don't really lay out, what it takes to make this business successful. They get somebody with a pulse that can breathe on a mirror, that wants to join the company, and they say, great, and they allow them to join. I want you to understand that when you recruit somebody, you're going to have to work with that person. You're going to have to deal with them on at least a weekly basis. So when you're bringing on somebody brand new, do let them know that if you bring them onto the company, when you're in that conversation, that one of the pieces you're going to expect is within the first 24 hours of them signing up, that they're going to watch the prospective client videos. They're going to go through all of those. There's actually more videos than just 30 minutes. I personally would have them watch all of the videos we have available so they have their mind wrapped around what they have available to send out to prospective clients. And then let them know that you anticipate that they will do their agent training. And the agent training is the agent training videos that we see down there to the bottom right of this screenshot that says follow us on Twitter. The bottom right is agent training videos. You have back office, agent resources, analysis, shopping cart, and the compensation plan. If you're going to bring somebody into this company, one of the first things I would do if I signed them up is tell them, okay, tomorrow I want to get with you and I want to review the videos with you and see if you have any questions on the videos. Now, if you really want to find out if they watched the videos or not, send them the videos from your link. Put them in your back office as a prospect and send them the videos from your link. That way you can track if, in fact, they actually watch the videos. The other way is for you to watch them yourself and have certain points in there and ask them, do you remember this? What did you get out of this? When it came to this point, what did you get out of this? There's a good way to find out if somebody's just saying, oh, yeah, I watched all the videos, or if they actually watched them or they just blew you off. The same thing with the agent training. Tell them, and now after we do that, your prospective training and watching the videos, and then I want you to go over to your agent training site. Once we sign you up, you're going to get access to that site, and I want you to do your training over there in your agent training videos. What this is really showing your individual is, one, that you have a process in place, that there is certain training that you want them to receive if they want to be successful with this business. The other thing, though, is you want to know if the individual that you have just recruited is actually going to work, or if they're going to be an individual that's constantly going to have reasons why they cannot work. Give you a great example. So they tell you, yes, I'll watch the videos tonight. I'll do my 3 hours of agent training. I'll watch the client videos tonight for sure. You call them the next day, well, the kid had the flu. We had a little situation that came up, and I just didn't get around to it. If a situation like that occurs to me, I ask them immediately right there, can you commit to me that you will watch these videos tonight? And if they say yes, they can, I'm going to follow up with them the very next day. And if they did not watch the videos, if they did not do the training, I am not going to get angry with them, but I am going to reprimand them. And I am going to say, look, my business is booming. I'm looking for people that want to be successful. This is 2 nights that you haven't been able to do your training or your agent training or to watch prospective client videos. What can I expect different moving forward from you? Because really, if this is the way it's going to be, then I can't rely on you to do what you say you're going to do. And that's not somebody that I want to work with. I would rather somebody come right up to me and say, I know I just signed up tonight. I know you want all this done in 24 hours. I've got things going on for the next 72 hours, so I can't watch them today, tomorrow, or the next day. But what I can assure you is, if it's Wednesday, I'm finished up, I can assure you I'll make a commitment that I'll watch these on Thursday evening after I get off work. Whatever they give you as a commitment, make sure you follow up with them and that they held to that commitment. That is going to be a big deal in building your business, knowing who you can rely on, who will actually do the work, who will actually move forward, and who's motivated to see success with this particular company, this program, and with this offering. Step 2, you should run your own personal analysis. And that should be done within the first 48 hours. And I've had people call me continually and say, Mac, I have this situation. Will the program work for my prospect? Well, you know exactly what that tells me is that you never got with the prospect to say, let's get an analysis done. Here's what I want to tell you, and I want you to make sure you all are aware of this, because a lot of clients will come back at you when they're talking about debt and all that and say, well, I really don't have that much debt. You know, I only have $20,000 or $30,000 worth of debt. Well, a lot of people will remove their house from that debt. A lot of people will remove second mortgages from that debt. So what I want you to do with every prospective agent that you have is say, I don't care whether you have debt or not. I want you to run a personal analysis. And what I mean by that is tell them what debt looks like. Debt would be your mortgage. Debt would be your second mortgage or equity line of credit. Debt would be a personal line of credit. Debt would be student loans. Debt would be a lien maybe that you have on something. Debt would be your credit cards, your personal lines of credit, any car loans, notes, anything you have out there, that is all debt. Now, yes, if you recruit somebody that is 100% debt-free, then no, there's no point in running an analysis. But there are very few people that I've come across that are 100% debt-free. And so when you're bringing in that brand new prospect, let them know that as a part of being part of this company, we want to run your own analysis. So me personally, I know it says there, run your own analysis, and leaving a new agent to his own devices may not be the best thing. This is a perfect opportunity for you to train that new prospect a little bit. If I recruited somebody in, I would run the analysis for the person I recruited in. The reason I would do that is I would run the analysis so they could see what I was doing. I'd either do it on a go-to-meeting or do it face-to-face, but so they could see what I was doing, see what the process is, see how simple that is. So when they recruit someone, they won't have the fear of running the analysis for that individual and doing it the same way. What we're really trying to do is create a duplicatable process from beginning to end. We want individuals that are coming in to either buy the program or to be a part of the company or do both to know that this is not our first rodeo. We have a system in place that works and captures individuals. We have all of the training materials that they could ever possibly want or need to get up to snuff on how this program comes together, and we have a dynamic sales process with sales training and a sales track for them to run on. The systems are in place. In other words, they don't have to go out and try to reinvent the wheel. The other thing you'll find out is sometimes you'll bring prospects in that want to be agents. They didn't even think of getting the product, and they run their own analysis or you run it for them, and next thing you know, you've got a client as well as an individual that is going to become an agent. Step 3 is your top 25 list. This is our item of, your name list. With whom do I start? And you can see the first is awareness on the sales funnel. So what I mean by that is the first thing you do is you write every single name down that you can possibly think of. Once you've done that, create your top 25 prospect list, okay? You're going to start making phone calls on this list. You're going to add them to your back office and start calling them to set up appointments. And so you're going to move from awareness of who they are or allowing them to be aware of our program or our offering. You're going to move it from awareness into interaction, which is going to be, well, tell me a little bit about what's going on in your situation. Let me tell you how the program can help you. Moving that into interest. They're interested in finding out more about the business or about the program. They're interested in what they've heard so far. And then the very last piece of that funnel is action, and that would be moving them to appointments, doing their analysis, doing their second appointment, and going over the sales process and closing with the client. the sales funnel is not something that is just indicative to our company. The sales funnel has been around for years. The other thing I would tell you is don't qualify who you write down on your name list. When you first start writing out this name list, write down every single name and phone number you can think of. Go through your cell phone. Go through your contacts on Gmail. Write down every single name and phone number you can think of, or move it to a spreadsheet or put it in your back office. Don't make the decision for someone else whether or not they need to hear this information. Anyone and everyone you come in contact with, you should be sharing this information with, because if you do it correctly, you do it cordially, you do it politely, you don't do it pushy, you would be amazed how many people have been looking for something like this but didn't know it was out there, have been looking for a way to get out of debt and have failed trying to use other systems. People that feel overwhelmed just going paycheck to paycheck trying to pay their bills. Don't be the individual that keeps this information from someone that could potentially truly need the information, and it could truly be a game changer for those individuals. So your step 3 is your top 25, your name list. Start making phone calls and sharing this information with anyone and everyone that you come in contact. Third-party introduction, you don't have to know everything right now, just how to effectively repeat the statements I'm going to show here. A third-party introduction can be done in person. It can also be done over the phone. Bringing in somebody in a 3-way call, I don't see a lot of people doing that anymore, except for the people that have been around the company for a long time. Please understand the value of the 3-way call. When and if you do a 3-way call, make sure if you're speaking to a prospect, whoever it is you're going to get on the phone with that prospect, make sure you're edifying that person. If they're your leader, if it's somebody from the corporate office, if it's just another individual that's in your team that's had great success, make sure you build them up. Make sure you edify them so that the individual that you're trying to get to purchase the program knows that you stepped out of the box, that you got the authority on the phone to talk to them about the business or the product or whatever that looks like. Always edify the person you're going to use as a third party to get on the phone, and then once you introduce them and build them up, let them take over. Do not interrupt them. Do not add to what it is they are saying or what they're doing. Most of these people have done enough 3-way calls that they're going to know exactly how to hit your clients. Some statements you could say is, "Hi, Mike. We've been talking. Mike, we've been talking through this. What I'm really doing is helping people eliminate doubt and build wealth. Would you want to watch a couple short videos?" Now, this is after you've been through your first 6 lessons of sales track. You're bringing them down to that appointment of setting that appointment in stone. You've used your qualifiers and tie downs. Now you're just asking the direct questions. Does this sound like something that would interest you? And if so, would you be willing to watch a couple short videos? Another way to do it is, "Hi, Mike. As you know, I'm helping people get out of debt and build wealth. I'm pretty new to this, but my partner, the individual I work with, is an expert in this. Would you have time to speak with my associate, my partner, to see if this would be a good fit for you?" Both of these statements are innocuous. Both of these statements take some of the pressure off of you and put them onto the client. These are not exact wordings, but what you're really trying to do is you've gone through your process, and now it's, if you don't feel confident enough to do a PowerPoint presentation or do a demonstration, you'd be asking them to watch the videos. If you don't feel confident enough to even send them the videos, then maybe you want to use your upline and have them come to bear and use it as that 3-way call. You would be shocked how many deals that agents thought were lost until they did the 3-way call. There is something very powerful. Sometimes prospects just need to hear another voice. Sometimes prospects just need to hear another perspective. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the quality of what you've done up to that point. It's just that you haven't given them what they need to move forward and make that buying decision. All right, so step 5 is get paid. And what we're looking to do is 4 sales in 30 days. and an active and productive team. If you follow this process, this will occur. If you follow sales track, you will capture people to move to the appointment to get analysis. If you share this information with every single person on your name list, you will make sales, period. You will build a team. But if you go at this lackadaisical, if you go at this half-hearted, that's the type of response that you're going to see. So once you've done that once, repent, rinse, and repeat. Get your team to rinse and repeat as well. And to review those 5 steps, it's your self-training, your personal analysis, your prospect list, make appointments, 4 sales in a month, success in 30 days, and that will be a profitable and moving forward team. Recruited an agent, few and far between, doesn't make you money. Show to everyone you know and build a pipeline. What I'm basically saying there is if you're just hitting 1, 2, 3 people a week, this is going to take a long time for you to get going. That's why I say make sure that if you recruit a new agent, one of the first things you do is get their training done and sit down and go through a name list. People know people you do not. Bringing in a brand new agent can give electricity to your business. It can give you a whole new set of names to work with to try to create deals, allow you to train someone and bring them up to speed. It is a great way to kind of blow the funk off and get you really engaged and excited about your business. And the more people you talk to, the better chances you're going to have of moving through it. This is a quantity numbers pipeline business. My thing that I used to do is if I sold a deal, I tried to replace that deal with 3 new prospects. I know a lot of people, they'll sell a deal or they'll get a nice pipe and they'll get 4 or 5 deals in the pipe and they'll spend a month just working those 4 or 5 deals. And at the end of the month, they may close 3 or 4 of those deals, but all of a sudden their pipeline is dead. And it takes them 30 days, 40 days to build their pipeline again. Your pipeline is an ongoing process. Always be adding to your pipeline as many new prospects as possible. And I would definitely say if you make a sale, try to replace that sale with 3 new prospects in your pipeline. Work at your business every day and celebrate the little wins. Have a game plan and have a plan to carry that out. It's one thing to have a game plan. It's another thing to have a methodology to carry it out. Keep things simple to the process and trust your training. Don't wing it. Don't step out of the box. Don't jump into long verbal explanations of how the product comes together. Let the videos do the talking for you. If somebody really wants to see how it works, become proficient at doing a demonstration for the client with your demonstration program. If they're trying to throw you off your game and take you out of your sales track, just keep circling the wagons back to your sales track and draw them in line and let them know that you're the one that's in charge of this process. You don't say it that way, but let them know by redirecting them back that you have a process. The process needs to be followed. And that is how you're going to be doing business. And that sometimes we call the rules of engagement. And it's not a bad thing to let your prospect know how things are going to progress, what are going to be the steps that are going to be involved once you set that first appointment and you go into analysis, demonstrations, or you're turning them over to the corporate office or whatever that looks like. With your new agents, make sure that you set them up a training process that you will hold them accountable to on dates and times and when they're supposed to watch the videos, when they're supposed to do their analysis, when you're supposed to sit down and go over a name list with them and start making phone calls. Work your business like a business and it will pay you back. I will promise you that 100%. With that having been said, I'm going to go over to Dr. Joan Hackenstad, and we're going to let Dr. Joan add some commentary and a little bit of wrap-up to what it is that I've said about the 5 steps to success. And so, Dr. Joan, anything that's weighing on your heart, anything that you would like to leave with the field, any comments or direction that you would like to offer everybody, please welcome again Dr. Joan Hackenstad.
Thank you, Mac. I appreciate that. I think you did a phenomenal job reviewing all of these steps. And I can't emphasize enough how important all of these steps are. That said, I'm going to kind of concentrate on a couple of the steps here, and that's going to be step number 3. your list. That list truly is one of the most important things that you possibly have. It's your gold. It's what helps you be bulletproof. And I have to say it's probably the most commonly skipped step. I get asked quite often, well, what's the fastest way for me to get to partner just like you? Well, there is no fast way. I hate to tell you. All of these steps exist for a reason, and the foundation, the basics exist for a reason. You have to pay your dues, and you have to put in and do the work to build that foundation in order for you to be able to build a really solid house and business there. So concentrate on that list. Again, it helps you make you bulletproof. When you hear the word no, it gives you the next person that you get to call on. It gives you your next action item. It helps reduce that commission breath. Anyone and everybody that you meet from here on out goes into the database. I'm going to suggest that you actually type that list up in an Excel spreadsheet. It's not because I think you have bad handwriting, although I really do. I do that because it helps you manipulate the data. After you input that information into an Excel spreadsheet, you can then add a phone number. You can then add an email. You can then add notes about your conversation when you have a follow-up. And then you can also upload it into a contact management system. You should have at least 250 people in that list, and that's what you're going to draw that 25 on. After you create that list, like Max said, you're going to rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. 1's not so hot, 10's is super, super, super hot. Now that 1, just because they may not be so hot, maybe their Aunt May, she's 105 years old, she has no desire to work another day in her life, but and she has no debt, so she's not a good agent or client prospect. She may not be a good prospect, but guess what? How many people does Aunt May know? So just because somebody may not be a good client or an agent doesn't mean that they're not somebody to speak to about the worth opportunity or the program. They may know somebody that will benefit from the program. So always add them to your list. Always reach out to them as well. But you're not done. You should always be adding to that list every single day. And in fact, I go back about once a quarter. I try to do a little bit more often, but I sometimes get a little bit sidetracked. But go back at least once a quarter and review that list, redo that list, because imagine all the people that you've forgotten. Also imagine all the people that you've just met in the past quarter, in the past 30 days, or however often you do it. Anybody and everybody you meet from here on out goes into that list so that you can follow up with them. From here on out, practice that 3-foot rule, networking events, booths at local events, attend booths at professional seminars, go to HOA organizations. So many different ways that you can get out and you can get in front of people. You need to network on purpose and network everybody, everywhere. So really, you should be talking about your commercial. You should be talking about what you do. Even if you have another profession, this may not be the main source of income, or it might just be a plan B. It might be how you're increasing your core business. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it may be, you might say, you know what, I'm a physician, but my passion is, and then talk about what you do with Worth Unlimited. But network on purpose and network everywhere. And again, from here on out, everybody that you meet goes into that database. Everybody you meet goes into that list. And everybody you meet, you should be following up on regarding Worth Unlimited. You don't know who needs to get out of debt, as Mac had said, but you also don't know who needs a crusade, who needs something bigger and greater than what they are, something to help give a little bit more meaning in their life. So don't disqualify somebody. It's not your position to make that decision for them. Mindset is also critical. When you go through this, remember, this is not a tool that people want. This is a tool that people need. They're not there to do you a favor. You're there to do them a favor. And I think people get that wrong. They call people all the time, hey, could you just do me a favor? Could you just go through this process? I need somebody to do it. Well, that's really kind of the wrong approach. You're in the boat and you're seeing somebody drown. You've got the life preserver and you're trying to throw it out to them. Make sure you have that mindset. Yes, you should absolutely help people form that commercial. Yes, you should absolutely help people give you constructive feedback on what you're doing well and what you're not. But when you're actually out there prospecting and introducing this to other people, you should have the mindset of you are there to help them. You have the solution to the issue that they have, whether they're an agent, whether they're a client, it's irrelevant. You have that solution. And one of the best ways to have the proper mindset goes back to step number 2, where you run your analysis and you get on the program if you qualify. People that are on the program outsell and outperform those that are not on the program. It's going to give you a story to tell people, and it's going to help with that mindset. That mindset is absolutely critical. Also, I'm just going to kind of end with, we all have fear. When we're starting something new, we all have a hesitation. We all have this, oh my goodness gracious, what am I going to mess up? Well, guess what? You're going to make mistakes. And I don't mean that meanly or anything like that. We all make mistakes. I've been doing this for many years, and I still make mistakes all the time. The mistakes are the things that you need to make to get better. Always look back and look at what worked, what didn't work, and how you can do it better so that you can improve for the next time. But if you're not getting out there and you're not making the mistakes, then you're not making the steps and the moves forward to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So make sure you make those mistakes. Get out there and really focus on that client. Focus on that person in front of you. Make sure that they know that that person is the main focus for you. You're not interested in yourself. You're focused 100% on them. And last, when a man forgets himself, he usually does something everybody else remembers. None of this is about you. All of this is about that person in front of you. Whether you're getting somebody on the program, whether you're helping somebody be successful as an agent, it's always about the person in front of you. Keep your agenda off the table, focus on the client, and just remember, when a man forgets himself, he usually does something everybody else remembers. Forget yourself, follow these steps, and you will have great success. Thank you so much.
All righty. Dr. Joe, thank you so much. Excellent words to end the session this evening. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can feel free to reach out directly to me or go through Worst Support. Information is there on the screen. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Joan, I want to thank you for all the information you gave us, and I want to thank everybody for joining us for the Worth Unlimited Agent Update and Sales Track Training for Monday, September 17th, 2018. Let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do something right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.